The drama begins with various images of food. The story kicks off with Park Sang-ah waiting in a restaurant for her order. She is captivated by the food and the attractive chef preparing it. Her brother calls, asking her to quickly bring his order. Leaving the restaurant, she heads to another one only to find the same chef going inside. After delivering her brother's order at his company, she returns home to enjoy her food. Upon opening the box, she discovers a love letter from an unknown man which she assumes is from the chef. Soon after, she receives a call from the chef asking for her home address. Thinking he likes her, Park Sang-ah quickly gets ready. However, when he arrives, he reveals that their orders were switched by mistake and asks for the one she took in error. When she passes him the box, it catches on her dress, but she is unable to remove it. Despite her efforts, he urges her to hurry and follow him to the car as he is running short on time. He drives recklessly and suddenly stops, causing her dress to be cut. Yeo Gukdae shows no concern and Harry proceeds to the location to arrange the order. Upon opening the box, he realizes that the message is missing. Park Sang-ah explains that it must have fallen out at her house. Yeo Gukdae scolds her harshly before suggesting they rewrite the message based on her recollection. As she recites the message to him, they make eye contact. The following day at work, Park Sang-ah is distracted by thoughts of Yeo Gukdae. Her friend informs her that a meeting is about to commence. Park Sang-ah works for an advertising agency, and during the meeting, the CEO instructs them on how to create an effective food advertisement. Emphasizing the importance of making the food appear fresh is crucial in advertising. During the meeting, Park Sang-ah was absent-mindedly jotting down Yeo Gukdae's name in her new book. She was reprimanded by the CEO when he noticed her. After the meeting ended, her friend asked what had been on her mind during the meeting. Park Sang-ah admitted that she couldn't stop thinking about the chef who had cooked her meal. Her friend, Adawa, suggested taking advantage of an upcoming advertisement to visit the same restaurant and request the same meal. Despite feeling embarrassed, Park Sang-ah was eager to see Yeo Gukdae again. Adawa managed to persuade her to go to the restaurant that night, claiming it would help with her work. Park Sang-ah watched Yeo Gukdae prepare her food with fascination and was lost in admiration. While eating, an unexpected sound brought her back to reality, causing her to choke. Yeo Gukdae came to her rescue, but in the process, she accidentally broke an expensive antique dish. Yeo Gukdae was furious, stating it was irreplaceable and valuable. Park Sang-ah asked about the cost of the dish, but Yeo Gukdae said she could never repay him in money. Feeling hopeless, Park Sang-ah wondered how she would make amends. Yeo Gukdae then proposed that she work in his restaurant for 100 days as compensation. He requests that she refers to him as boss, which is actually beneficial for Park Sang-ah as it allows her to be closer to him. The next day, his friends were surprised to see him allowing a girl to be part of the team at the restaurant for the first time. Yeo Gukdae becomes nervous and emphasizes that he is only concerned about his compensation. When Park Sang-ah enters the establishment, the three men are captivated by her beauty. Yeo Gukdae instructs her to peel some garlic and reaches out to touch her hair, but she rebuffs his attempt as she does not want him to see the scar on her head. He clarifies that he only wanted her to cover her hair, and then asks her to change clothes. She emerges in a dress, but he harshly tells her she cannot serve men dressed that way. He gives her an oversized t-shirt, which eliminates any femininity. He continues to give her tasks like cleaning and cutting vegetables, and at the end of the day praises her hard work, offering her a special food box as a reward. While taking the box to her house, her brother cannot resist eating the contents. He compliments the food by suggesting that a beautiful lady must have arranged the box. Park Sang-ah clarifies that it was actually a man. When her brother questions why a man would make such a beautiful box for a woman, Park Sang-ah explains that it was the chef from the restaurant where she works part-time, due to breaking a valuable dish. Surprisingly, her brother points out that tomorrow is Monday. As predicted, Park Sang-ah ends up late for work because of her other job, leading to a scolding from the CEO. However, Dua quickly approaches to ask for more information about what happened at the restaurant. Park Sang-ah mentions the different personalities of the chefs, one sweet, one odd, and one cold-hearted. She then takes out a strawberry to eat, just as a man named Kevin introduces himself as the new direct manager. Kevin shows a fondness for Park Sang-ah, causing Adwa to suggest that he may be in love with her. Park Sang-ah denies it, but Kevin was actually helping her with all the small details. He even held the door open for her when she was carrying a large number of files. Shortly after, Yeo Gukdae calls and tells her not to be late for the restaurant. When she arrives, she is surprised to find all the dishes dirty, and Yeo Gukdae tells her to wash them. The next day, Adwa notices the dark circles under Park Song-a's eyes, and Park Song-a admits she can't handle 2 jobs anymore. Adwa suggests she find a solution. Meanwhile, Yeo Gukdae's friends speculate that Yeo Gukdae is in love with Park Song-a and they need to prove it. At the end of the day, Kevin invites the team to dinner after finishing their tasks early. After dinner, he encourages them to drink. Later, Park Song-a goes to leave for the restaurant, but Kevin follows her, insisting it's too early to go. Kevin offers to take her to a restaurant himself, and they unexpectedly find Yeo Gukdae there. Yeo Gukdae sits down, feeling jealous, and tells Kevin that Park Song-a works part-time at his restaurant. He instructs Park Song-a to follow him immediately without being late. In the restaurant, instead of making her work, he prepares food and a drink to help her get rid of the alcohol traces. He kisses her, causing her to stay awake all night wondering about his intentions. The next day, she appears extremely happy. When Adwa inquires about her happiness, she explains that she will reveal the reason once she is certain. During a break, she attempts to retrieve some files but almost falls, only to be caught by Kevin. His hairstyle has changed, and he reveals that he is actually her childhood friend. They reminisce about their childhood. After work, she meets with Yeo Gukdae, who wanted to talk to her. She is ready for his confession, but he confesses that he was drunk when he kissed her. He also discloses that he was previously married before his fiancée left him at the altar. Apologizing, he admits that he is not ready for a relationship. Park Song-a, upset, leaves without a word and pushes away his attempt to stop her. As she tries to leave, Kevin stops her and consoles her, taking her to drink. She drinks excessively, prompting him to take her home. There, her brother confronts Kevin, demanding to know his intentions towards his sister. Kevin reminds Park Song-a of himself. He informs her that he is her direct manager at the company. While in her room, Park Song-a spends the entire night awake, calling Yeo Gukdae and insulting him before hanging up the phone. When she wakes up, her brother confronts her about who she was talking to all night. Park Song-a checks her phone and sees all the calls to Yeo Gukdae, causing her to scream as she remembers everything. She apologizes to Kevin at work for what she said and offers to repay him for the money he spent at the restaurant. Kevin declines her offer, but suggests that they have dinner together to make up for it. When she returns, Park Song-a appears to be sick. Adwa asks if she is okay, to which Park Song-a insists that she is fine. However, when Adwa checks on her later, she realizes that Park Song-a is not well. Adwa advises her to cancel her date with Kevin as she is too unwell to go. Park Song-a asks Kevin to cancel their date, and he places his hand on her forehead, revealing that she has a fever. He takes her to get some healthy food. Park Song-a encounters Yeo Gukdae's friends who inform her that Yeo Gukdae is on his way. She attempts to hide but ends up fainting, only to be caught by Yeo Gukdae before she falls. At the hospital, Kevin questions Park Song-a's brother about why she did not take her medicine. Her brother explains that since their mother's passing, Park Song-a feels guilty and refuses to take medicine when she falls ill. Alone in her room, Park Song-a envisions her mother reassuring her that she did not cause her death. Upon opening her eyes, Park Song-a discovers an unknown person in the room with her. The following day, she goes to work where Kevin begins looking for a new restaurant for their next advertising campaign. Adwa recommends Yeo Gukdae's restaurant, but Park Song-a and Kevin do not approve of the idea. When Yeo Gukdae arrives at his restaurant, his friends see him preparing a box of food. He then goes to Park Song-a's workplace, and upon seeing him, she pretends to be asleep. However, after a few minutes, she gets up to greet the company's CEO. When the man is not greeted by, he asks about his identity. Park Song-a quickly steps in, claiming that he is not an employee, but rather the owner of one of the restaurants nominated for the advertisement campaign. The CEO shakes Yeo Gukdae's hand and encourages him to do his best in the competition. Outside, Park Song-a scolds Yeo Gukdae for coming and asks him to leave, telling him not to return. Yeo Gukdae responds by saying it's too soon to give up, as he believes his restaurant will win the partnership. Meanwhile, inside the company, the entire staff gathers around the food box that Yeo Gukdae brought. When Park Song-a enters, they admire her choice as the food seems delicious. Following that, Kevin pays a visit to Yeo Gukdae at the restaurant, inquiring about his feelings for Park Song-ah. Yeo Gukdae declines to share anything, leading Kevin to suggest preparing a proposal food box for Park Song-ah. Yeo Gukdae is surprised, claiming it could never happen as Park Song-ah is actually fond of him. Park Song-ah attempts to convince the manager to end the partnership with Yeo Gukdae's restaurant, but is unsuccessful. Despite this, she returns to Yeo Gukdae's restaurant determined to cancel the partnership. Yeo Gukdae responds by asking her to stay and complete her work. Surprised, Park Song-ah questions if she will be his assistant again, but he reveals that they are now partners. He tries to treat her warmly, and as she cuts a cucumber, she accidentally cuts her hand, causing them to give her first aid. Yeo Gukdae then instructs her to stop working. Kevin contacts her, informing her that he is coming to pick her up. While waiting for Kevin, she falls asleep, and Yeo Gukdae covers her with a blanket. His friend advises him to confess his feelings to her if he likes her that much. Despite Kevin's call, he ignores it. When Park Song-ah wakes up, she discovers that Yeo Gukdae has baked her favorite cookies. She notices he struggles to speak full sentences, and when she asks what's wrong, he is about to confess his feelings, but Kevin interrupts. Kevin asks about the box and takes Park Song-ah outside to reveal his feelings to her. He gives her a bracelet, telling her not to respond immediately and to take her time. Upon opening the box at home, Park Song-ah finds little rabbits inside, something she mentioned liking from her childhood. Feeling angry, she rushes to his restaurant and questions why he included a secret she had shared. Yeo Gukdae explains he did it to make her happy, as he knew it was something she enjoyed. Park Song-ah expresses her frustration, asking why he visited her in the hospital if it was just his job. Yeo Gukdae admits his nerves, confessing that she has confused him since they first met. He reveals his initial reluctance to start a new relationship but admits he can't resist his feelings for her. Overwhelmed with happiness, Park Song-ah is touched when Yeo Gukdae finally confesses his love for her. She walks through the streets after leaving the restaurant, pondering what to say to Kevin. The next day, she meets him and apologizes, explaining that she has feelings for someone else. Kevin asks if there is no chance for them, and she responds that they are just friends. As friends, Kevin suggests they spend the day together to help him feel better. They end up going to the park and reminiscing about their childhoods, discussing why Kevin initially moved to America. Meanwhile, Yeo Gukdae reflects on his actions towards her, feeling guilty and questioning whether she will reciprocate his feelings. He accidentally injures his hand and is rushed to the hospital. Park Song-ah receives a call from the restaurant, instructing her to come quickly. Assuming it's work-related, Kevin offers to drive her. Upon arrival, she learns that Yeo Gukdae is already in the hospital. She and Kevin rush to his side. When they reach his room, a woman exits and introduces herself as Yeo Gukdae's ex-wife. Startled, Park Song-ah tries to flee, but Yeo Gukdae intervenes, preventing her from getting hit by a car. Park Song-ah tearfully tells him to stay away from her, but Yeo Gukdae pleads for a chance to explain himself. They sit down together, and he reassures her that there is nothing going on between them. It was actually who was pursuing him, which is why he initially left the room. They reconcile and become a couple, sharing a kiss that is witnessed by Yeo Gukdae's ex-wife, Oh Deok-hee, who is furious. The following day at work, Park Song-ah's proposal is approved and everyone congratulates her. When she visits Yeo Gukdae's restaurant, she finds Oh Deok-hee helping out in the kitchen. Oh Deok-hee explains that she had been in Italy for 3 years and has returned to assist Yeo Gukdae. Yeo Gukdae arrives and promptly kicks Oh Deok-hee out, declaring he wants nothing to do with her. However, Oh Deok-hee manages to obtain Park Song-ah's phone number and reaches out to set up a meeting. Park Song-ah agrees to meet with Oh Deok-hee, who questions when she and Yeo Gukdae started dating. Park Song-ah refuses to answer, claiming it is none of Oh Deok-hee's business. Oh Deok-hee pushes Park Song-ah to find out if Yeo Gukdae has truly moved on, but Park Song-ah is confident that Yeo Gukdae now loves only her and considers Oh Deok-hee a part of his past. Oh Deok-hee points out that the restaurant's name still reflects the choice she made in the past, leaving Park Song-ah feeling frustrated. Upon returning home, Park Song-ah's brother asks if she dreamed about their mother. Park Song-ah denies having such a dream, causing her brother to suspect that she is now in a relationship. As she heads to work, she encounters Kevin. They speak with each other in order to comfort Park Song-ah. Yeo Gukdae arrives, sees her, and immediately Kevin leaves. Yeo Gukdae inquires about Park Song-a's interaction with Kevin despite him helping her with a heavy box despite his injury. She explains that they were discussing work only. Yeo Gukdae asks her to suggest a new name for the restaurant, to which Park Song-a replies that she will consider it. In her office, she contemplates that a simple name change should not anger her and ultimately decides against altering it. Park Song-a goes to Yeo Gukdae to discuss this issue with him, only to find Odiaki there. Odiaki accuses her of being immature and argues that rebranding the restaurant from scratch will have negative consequences. Yeo Gukdae's friend joins the conversation, apologizing to Park Song-a and acknowledging the potential negative impact of changing the restaurant's name. Park Song-a gazes at Odiaki, insinuating that such a trivial matter cannot jeopardize her relationship with Yeo Gukdae, as she is able to understand him unlike Odiaki. This remark angers Odiaki, prompting her to mention something in the storage room, which Yeo Gukdae intervenes to prevent once Park Song-a approaches. She instructs her to investigate whether he truly loves her if she wants to know. Afterwards, she prepares a meal in a fit of anger and accidentally burns it. Yeo Gukdae reprimands her for interfering with his cooking, reminding her that he is the chef and she is the one tasting his food. They discuss why Odiaki and he broke up, with Yeo Gukdae explaining that they actually didn't break up. Odiaki had told him she would leave him to spare him sadness, wanting to take on that burden herself. Yeo Gukdae admits he didn't understand her intentions and was left confused by her departure. Park Song-a emphasizes that the past is behind them and she is here to help him achieve the future he desires. Despite her intentions, she can't resist checking the box Odiaki mentioned in the storage room. When she reaches the box, Yeo Gukdae takes it away, telling her she doesn't have permission to see its contents. Park Song-a, thinking the box holds pictures of other women, insists on knowing what Yeo Gukdae is hiding. Yeo Gukdae reveals that the box contains a photo of a woman who died because of him, someone he considered a mother. He explains that his parents divorced, and he lived alone until this woman took him under her wing. One day, she saved his life by sacrificing her own when she pushed him out of the way of a car. Moved by his story, Park Song-a shares her own trauma of losing her mother in an accident when she was young, causing her to avoid taking medication. They both shed tears over their painful pasts and end up spending the night together. In the morning, he prepares breakfast for her while his friends arrive, teasing him about his romantic gestures towards Park Song-a. Meanwhile, she receives a phone call from her brother who scolds her for spending the night with Yeo Gukdae. Adawa intervenes and explains to her brother that Park Song-a actually stayed at her house that night. The two girls discuss Odiaki's involvement with Yeo Gukdae, with Adawa questioning if Odiaki will truly be out of Yeo Gukdae's life, to which Odiaki assures her that it will happen. Yeo Gukdae, on the other hand, is at a store picking out a dress as a gift for Park Song-a, a stark contrast to his previous claims of not falling in love. Park Song-a is then informed that Yeo Gukdae is planning to meet Odiaki, prompting her to rush to the restaurant where she finds Yeo Gukdae waiting for Odiaki. She decides to reveal the reason for leaving him before, explaining that Yeo Gukdae's mother had pressured her to break up with him so he could take over his father's hotel business. Odiaki believed Yeo Gukdae would leave her for the restaurant and left him, but now wants to reconcile. Yeo Gukdae, however, tells her that he has moved on and is in love with Park Song-a now. Despite this, Park Song-a was still feeling sad. Yeo Gukdae drove her home, where she saw her brother who scolded her for sleeping outside. However, she ignored him and locked herself in her room. Meanwhile, Yeo Gukdae sat in his car, contemplating on his life. Suddenly, Park Song-a appeared running on the streets looking for him, and she hugged him. When her brother asked what was going on, Yeo Gukdae hid her behind him and explained their relationship. They both went back home. Yeo Gukdae then visited Odiaki, telling her that it was not his mother's fault for leaving him without any explanation. It was her own fear that made her go. The following day at work, they discovered that Yeo Gukdae's restaurant had won the auction, and they all celebrated together. When Park Song-a delivered the news to Yeo Gukdae, they celebrated together and he revealed that he was happy. She noticed a bracelet on his hand and thought it was a gift from Odiaki, but Yeo Gukdae explained that it was from the woman who saved his life and even showed her a photo. Park Song-a was shocked to see that the woman in the photo was her mother. Overcome with emotion, she accused Yeo Gukdae of being the reason for her mother's death. She weeps, asking him to clarify the situation. In that day, the woman saw him about to be hit by a car, so she jumped in front of it instead to save him. Park Sang-ah tearfully reveals that she had always felt guilty for her mother's death, thinking it was her fault, but now realizes Yeo Gukdae was actually the reason. She throws the ring at him, believing he should have died instead of her mother. Yeo Gukdae breaks down completely, and Park Sang-ah calls Adwa to come pick her up as she can't walk. She helps her friend onto the bed, instructing her to take a few days off work. Yeo Gukdae's friend informs another friend, who was with Oh Deok-hee, that Yeo Gukdae will be closing the restaurant for a few days. When Oh Deok-hee asks why, the guy reveals that Yeo Gukdae broke up with Park Sang-ah. In the restaurant, Yeo Gukdae is in tears, confiding in his friend that he can't bear Park Sang-ah leaving him, while Oh Deok-hee overhears their conversation. Oh Deok-hee approaches Park Sang-ah and explains that Yeo Gukdae wanted to buy medicine for the woman's daughter that day to keep her from going out in the rain, which caused the accident. Park Sang-ah breaks down even more, realizing that Yeo Gukdae wasn't responsible for her mother's death, attributing it to fate. The following day, her brother comes across a note from her stating that she is heading to their old village. Her brother rushes to Yeo Gukdae's restaurant, demanding to know what he did to his sister, and Yeo Gukdae reveals the entire story. Oh Deok-hee later confronts Yeo Gukdae, questioning if Park Sang-ah left him, to which he sarcastically responds as she did before. Inquiring why he could forgive Park Sang-ah but not her, Yeo Gukdae admits that his love for Park Sang-ah surpasses his feelings for Oh Deok-hee. He visits Park Sang-ah and apologizes for everything, professing his love and desire to spend his life with her despite their troubled past. He presents her with her mother's diary, which he has kept for so long. Park Sang-ah asks for time and returns home to find a recipe in her mother's diary, a dish she used to prepare as a child. Her brother praises her cooking, and as time passes, we witness Yeo Gukdae's restaurant expanding alongside Park Sang-ah's career growth. Eventually, she goes to Yeo Gukdae's restaurant, confessing how much she missed him. They reconcile while enjoying a meal prepared by Yeo Gukdae, and the final scene depicts them in Yeo Gukdae's car, listening to music and filled with happiness.